Hey yo, so I decided to throw together a little video here showing off the PlayStation 5's new controller with its integrated haptic feedback and adapted triggers. For the purpose of this video, I'll be using the game all PS5 owners have access to, Astro's Playground. The PlayStation 5 DualSense controller brings the integrated speaker from the DualShock 4 controller. The haptic feedback and integrated speaker brings the in-game immersion to a completely different level. Let's take a look at a few examples. The raindrops that you hear are actually coming through the integrated speaker through the controller. The sound through the speaker and the haptic feedback are in perfect cue of each other for a whole nother level of immersion. I literally feel like I could fall asleep listening to this rain. If only I could hold the controller in my hand as I did. The 3.1 surround sound is dang, I don't know. That's the only way I know how to describe it. But with the haptic feedback in your hands, it truly does bring immersion to a completely different level. The adapted triggers bring a level of force and tension to both L2 and R2. Depending on the game and the situation, the developer can choose how to apply force and tension to apply a level of immersion. Here's a really good example of the adapted triggers in use. Here, the developer chose to use the adapted triggers with the minigun to create a recoil effect that truly does create a level of immersion. Look at those fingers bounce around. Here's a situation where the game is using force on the adapted triggers. Here I get to use in-game currency to redeem items through this vending machine, though I only have 2 remaining. Before catching the ball, the R2 button was easily pressed, but after catching it, it requires full force to break it. The same principle applies to the L2 button trying to use the vending machine arm. It requires almost full force in order to use it. Let's face it, although all the success that Sony has had with PlayStation, especially last generation's PlayStation 4, the controllers were never really anything great. Whether you like it or not, Microsoft and the Xbox One controller really changed the game with a really great controller. But has Sony answered with a DualSense controller in the PS5? I think so.